So, Mayank, EdTech, at least in the news, has had a fall in the recent past. For a 20-year-old who's thinking about starting up, is education still a sector that they should consider? Are you considering education for your new venture? And what is the right way to play here?
100% consider education. Education in general is a very large space and a large market. So I think people should not get swayed away with one or two sort of instances and one or two stories in the space. There's a large impact to be made, and it's a large opportunity out there. I think the way to play is what matters here. It's an industry where outcomes matter, and therefore one needs to focus on outcomes and not on distribution. It's an industry where results play an important role, and therefore you need to focus on results and not something else. I think broadly, very excited about the space, and if I have to put in the next dollar, I'll definitely put it in the education space. And look, for me personally, this is my circle of competence, so I don't know anything else. So there's no other thing that I can do beyond education, skill, talent, and people. So I'm definitely passionate about this space, and if there's anything that I'll be doing, I'll be definitely be in and around the education, skill, talent, and that ecosystem altogether.
Very tangibly, you've observed the sector probably for a decade. Very tangibly, the mistakes that were made and the mistakes to avoid.
So 3-4 mistakes. I would say education is not an access game. It's not a sales and marketing game. These are important, but outcomes matter. Sometimes people forget about outcomes.
Placements, degrees.
Placements, results, completion, seeing some tangible outcome. There has to be an outcome. This need not necessarily be just jobs and placements. It could be anything else. It could be promotion. It could be moving up in a career. It could be having something at cheap price, etc. But outcomes in broad matters a lot. So if you're not focusing on outcomes and you're focusing on marketing, distribution, and sales, sometimes that gets very tricky to sort of scale up. You need to be core and not necessarily supplementary. If you're core, then it's easier for you to build the industry.
What does core mean?
Core means it's something that is it's a must thing for you to do rather than a good to do things.
In India or abroad as well?
Anywhere. So, I mean, for example, if you're doing supplementary classes outside of school education, it's difficult to scale. If you're doing core school education, it's easy to scale.
So hobbies won't work?
Hobbies won't work, exactly. So hobbies won't work. Something which has to be core, and that's what will matter in this particular space. But again, I mean, I'll just take a slightly longer answer to your question. So if you look at the school space, the customer and consumers are different. Because the two of them are different, it gets very difficult to sell and build something meaningful at scale. And therefore, in this space, the only sector that will work is either you're running a school or you're selling to a school. On the test prep space, definitely an opportunity because there's very clear tangible outcomes. So people will build high quality businesses, but the challenge there is outcomes will only happen if it is offline. So you will only build if it is offline. Unless if it is not offline, then you cannot demonstrate results, and therefore you will see in the test preps with everybody moving offline. The third sector, which is your study abroad space, people will build good businesses. Again, it's an unformalized becoming formalized, so people will try to sort of scale that up. Because there's an outcome, people will go or not go. And similarly, in lifelong learning and adult education space, you will see outcomes being very clearly tangible, measured. It's job, promotion, increments, so on and so forth. So I think places where you will find outcomes, you will see results in businesses. Places you don't find outcomes, it's very difficult to build business out there.
Got it. So using marketing and sales, there's not much focus needed there?
No. So I'll really rephrase it. I think the marketing and sales should not become your core.
Which it was.
For many places, you can hire a big celebrity.
But did that happen in the last few days?
A lot of people hire big celebrities and then ask the celebrity to sell certain product, and that product, beyond a certain level, if the outcomes are not there, it will not sell. See, in education, the good part is whatever product that you launch, for the first year, 2 year, 3 year, you will get the sale immediately. Because it's a new product, nobody knows the result, so people just trust it as the way it is. But the moment you start not demonstrating results, then the market starts dipping. So I think it's easy to focus on distribution, sales, marketing is very important. I think I would not undermine the fact that sales and marketing is not important.
It's not the only thing.
But it's not the only thing, and it should not be the core of what
it's very secondary.
Yeah. It is I would say without that you will not succeed, but with just that you will fail. Without the right outcome, the chances of failure is much higher.
Got it. Okay. So there's been a lot of talk about, hey, we ended up burning more money on the sector or for being the kind of business being in the business that we were in. Is that true? Can education be profitable, or does it always need an answer?
If you look at schools, you look at universities, they're all profitable businesses. Schools.
But they needed capex.
They needed capex.
Huge capex.
Initial capex. But now the capex era is gone.
Okay.
What got invested was not capex. was a lot OPEX. Actually hiring a large sales force or spending on marketing. It was not CapEx as such. CapEx is like you invest in technology and you build that platform and then you can sort of scale that up. But it was not the same in this context. So therefore people forget that education is one of the most profitable sectors in the world. The
When you
challenge
say
is,
profitable, what is the average net percentage?
so at an EBITDA margin level, a university can operate anywhere between 30 to 60% of EBITDA margin.
Offline, online?
Offline.
30 to 60%.
60%. Now, when it comes to online, a lot of money gets spent in distribution and marketing because reaching out to the customer, creating awareness of that sector becomes very challenging. So I think that's a bit of work where people have spent a lot more money than is needed. But I think now the sanity and the sort of presence is there for people to now start looking at business and building it in a very sane and frugal way rather than sort of operating and spending a lot of money in the process.
Can it still grow fast?
Yeah, I think the growth has to be compromised to a certain extent, but if
Okay.
there's the fact is that the market is there. The market is not going anywhere. So it's not that you are in a race to grow at a certain pace. If you're okay with a 30-40% growth rate, you can easily build a good, profitable, high quality business even at that kind of approach.
Now, a lot of folks are tying up with colleges, opening offline colleges. Is that the remedy for the new era of education, or that's also
So for a certain segment, it may matter.
colleges?
For undergrad segment, it matters. So therefore, you will see this behavior happening in the undergrad segment. For postgrad, it's not that an important thing. You will see this behavior a lot happening in the undergrad space and not as much in the postgrad space.
Okay. What do you think about what's going to happen in the? You've always played in the mostly in the postgrad space. You think it's not a must to go offline?
No, I think you don't need to go offline. You don't need to go offline to teach.
Okay.
You may need to go offline to acquire.
Got it.
So having counseling pods could be in a strong strategic competitive advantage if you have presence across all these tech parks, electronic city, etc.
Centers.
People will come and get counseled, and then they can buy a online program. But you don't need to teach online. You just need to perhaps more do acquisition offline and teach in the online space.
You guys did something around that?
Yeah, so we are opening up some centers where
At upGrad.
At upGrad, where people can walk in, get counsel, and buy an online program.
And it's
All centers are profitable. All centers are operating with high margins because the cost of acquisition sort of comes down significantly.
when you open up a center.
Yes.
Because you end up spending more on ads.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Otherwise.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Man,
Thanks, sir.
lucky.
Thank you.